afternoon. This is absolutely apt because the industry professionals who are here to address us belong to an area in which we are heavily invested, and as an institute we have tried to progress in that area consciously and strategically. And it was interesting that within 15 minutes of discussion, we were already discussing possibilities of projects that we can do together. Thank you so much, Arvind and Alvin, to come over and spend this time with us. Allow me to introduce the keynote speaker today, Mr. Arvind Jha. He is the Global Head of Products for Newgen and Senior Vice President Software Development, wears many hats. With more than 3 decades of experience in software development and engineering and driving business model transformation strategy for global and Indian startup companies, Mr. Arvind Jha is responsible for product development at Newgen. With his team, he is at the cutting edge of building capabilities that support global enterprise customers with all of the latest technologies based upon robust low-code platforms to design, develop and deploy both citizen developer and enterprise-grade business applications with strong governance and manageability, characterized by built-in AI/ML across end-to-end document and process life cycles, native cloud architectures for scale and flexibility, mobility across the entire spectrum, social integrations and consumer-grade UX for building powerful end customer experiences. I also don't understand half of it. That's what he will explain. And I hope to understand. Arvind deservedly is recognized by the Indian tech community as an innovator and community builder. Prior to joining Newgen, he was co-founder and CEO of Pariksha Labs and had also led product development teams at Polaroid, Adobe, Monsoon Multimedia and Movico Technologies. An alumnus from the prestigious IIT Kharagpur, Arvind has the right credentials to be in this space of product development, which to us is very important as an institute, because last year we started the digital strategy area of major, in which technology product development and management is a key pillar of that area. And the popularity is that although the majors in digital strategy last year were about 37, 38 total students, but the product management course got subscribed by 90 people. So that tells you how important that is. And there are so many roles that are coming to us in that area. And I would hope that at the end of today's session, you and I would have more clarity on why it is not an area only for techies, right? Because there seems to be some fear psychosis that, this is not for non-engineers. So we also welcome Alvin with us. Alvin has come here earlier as well, and he is the head of university engagement and recruitment for Newgen. So you know how he is important to you. right? He is a psychology major from Delhi University and has been trained at IIM Ahmedabad. And as a community engagement leader, we welcome Alvin to be on campus once again. And I hope to welcome you both soon.
Yes.
Thank you. However you want to start.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. I have a big lecture to make. But firstly, my heartfelt thanks for inviting us here, Professor Venkatesh. I met the director as well. The faculty is here, and so many students. I thought there'll be 50, 60 students, like 150. So I remember it was a concert that Simon and Garfunkel concert that we went to, and he said, "Wow, you guys just fill the space." And I was like feeling that everybody's here. Fantastic to be here. The first time I heard of Great Lakes was 2004. Approximately, I was leading engineering teams at Adobe India. And one of my good engineers, he said, I'm going to do management. And I never did management. I'm just a simple party BTech kind of person, right? An engineering person, right? And so I said, why do you want to do management? You're at Adobe. This is the best engineering company that one can work for. But anyway, then I went and checked out and saw the credentials that Great Lake has. Extremely powerful people who started this, and what a journey Great Lakes has been on. So congratulations for that journey as well.
Thank you, sir.
When Arvind told me that this is a commencement address, I was very surprised. Usually these addresses are when you're ready to go out into the world, and we can tell you the challenges you're going to have, and the fun that you're going to have, and the money you're going to make, and the careers that you're going to have. This is a commencement address, so I was like, okay, I must first build some trust and engagement with the students. One way to do that would be to maybe make a joke. Okay, so what kind of joke can I tell incoming students? Somebody told me you should make an MBA joke. So I said, no, I'm scared of making an MBA joke because I'm not an MBA myself. Right? So if I make an MBA joke, many of you might go to my Twitter timeline and give me your opinions on what you think about my joke. Anyway, Twitter is a forum where we all like to express our deepest opinions about somebody. So I'm going to stay away from MBA jokes for a minute. Okay. But I'm going to tell you an engineering joke. Very easier. And I'm an engineer, so I can laugh at myself. So.
All of them are also almost...
And 80% of you are engineers, so that's good. That's good. So what do you call an engineer who leaves engineering behind and focuses on business strategy, finance, sales, operations, culture, HR, all these things? Any thoughts? No? Usually they call them CEO. One of my bosses used to say this very well, and he would say, I'm a communications engineer. I knew he was a mechanical engineer, but he would say, I'm a communication engineer. The reason he would say that is he was extremely good at communicating with a lot of people. He right now heads Adobe, Shantanu Narayan. He's one of the top Indians in the Silicon Valley. So if you can fix your communication with all those different, and hopefully you will learn a lot about how to pick that up in this course right now. You'll all hopefully become CEOs over the next 25, 30 years. So good luck to you. So let's get back to the commencement address. I was thinking that I should talk to you about how you can use this 1 year. Okay. And clearly there's academics. It's a residential campus, so you have to see each other. So you have to build long-term friendships amongst yourselves. There's so many activities. I went to your website. There are clubs, student clubs, so lots of student activities and clubs, etc. So I thought, okay, let me tell you how this 1 year can pan out to you. But then I thought, no, that will become boring, really, really boring. When I was a student, and I was sitting on the other side, and we had distinguished professors or faculty come and tell us about their experiences, I would always be thinking, okay, what really happened with this guy? How did he or she build a career which allowed them to get to the position that you are? I'm global head of products at Newgen. It's a $100 million company. It's one of the few Indian companies as a product company that got to $100 million. Very, very few did. HCL could not get there, Infosys could not get there, Wipro could not get there, Commencement could not get there. It's only Newgen that got there, maybe InMobi got there as well to some extent with original products. Okay. How did I get there? So I thought maybe let me talk to you about what my career has been all about and how we built it. And what are the failures that came along with it? Successes, you can go read my LinkedIn, I got all my successes out there. The failures are a little more private, so let me share that with you today. So when I finished class 10, and I was a good student, I wanted to be a CA. Okay? And I did really well. I was on a merit list, all India merit list, okay, in class 10. And my mom really threw a fit. She said, no, you're doing science. Why do you want to do CA when you can do so much, good maths, good physics? And I come from a middle class family, average middle class family like many of you. So I thought CA deals with money, so I can make a lot of money, make my family quickly very proud of me and get over all the problems that we have. So I wanted to be a CA. But my mother put her foot down and said, no, you have to go into sciences. So I went into sciences. I did reasonably well. I got into IIT. I got into computer science at IIT, so my rank was very high. So what the lesson I learned was, you have to wait for your rights to develop before you can exercise them. What does it mean for you? You all have coming with lots of new ideas. and you have a perspective of how you should lead your life. But now you're in this campus culture. There is a little framework of discipline. Okay? And you may feel that you can exercise your rights, but you have to earn your spurs. Before you can start exercising your rights, this is how we should think about it, this is how we should do this. You have to earn that for yourself. So I learned the hard lesson. Next time, when I finished, when I wanted to do computer science, when I got a JEE rank, which made me eligible to be a computer scientist, 75% of my family, and I'm from Bihar, right, Madhubani, Mithila, they wanted me to do a civil engineering course and apply for UPSC. What else? And then I put my foot down saying, no, I'm going to do computer science. This is a hot new area. Not many, I was second batch computer science at IIT. So I want to do computer science. And why do you want to do computer science? Because I'm interested in new things. Okay. And you are right now at the cusp of absolutely new things in computer science. Professor talked about digital transformation, digital strategy. Every company out there is rapidly becoming a digital company. One of the biggest banks, Goldman Sachs, Lehman Brothers, their CEOs, if you listen to them, they're saying, we are not a bank, we are a digital company. We just trade in money. Yeah? A lot of the manufacturing companies are now saying, we are going to become a digital company. Let's put IoT sensors all over our production facilities. Let's put IoT sensors all over our transportation facilities. Let's put IoT sensors all over our retail facilities. We want to get data from everywhere and become a digital company. And the faster you can become a digital company, the faster you can scale, because the cost of replicating a digital is zero. Right? Marginal cost of replicating a digital product or service is nearly zero. And one of the best examples you'll think about is Starbucks. Okay? So Starbucks introduced a loyalty card. Okay? And they said, a lot of people introduce loyalty card. You can buy a product, show them your loyalty card and discount. Starbucks said, no, you can load a little bit of money on your loyalty card. If you load that money, you'll get a discount on every purchase that you have. You know how much money Starbucks has on that loyalty card? A couple of $1 billion. Free money. So Starbucks can actually go and build new stores at zero cost to them, while their competitors are having to pay through their nose for interest cost manufacturing. So who wins out? And what enabled that Starbucks? Digital technology. A loyalty technology that allowed somebody to actually manage a wallet or manage money on the digital card. Okay? So every company that you will work for, and many of you will work for 35, 40 years, will be a digital company. This is a given. So the more you can think of transformation, digital transformation, the better it is. So coming back to my story. So I became an engineer, computer science engineer. I graduated. I joined a company. And I got completely frustrated as an engineer. And many of you who probably are here as a management students probably have felt this as well. In India, we don't respect engineers. Okay, corporate India doesn't respect engineers. The only two engineers who are leaders in India, one is Rajiv Bajaj, he's an engineer. The other, I think, Mr. Nayak at L&T is one of the top engineers who's leading a corporate. Everywhere else, and in my company, and I was really good at Unix. I knew the whole Unix library inside out. And we would talk to customers, and my sales team or sales officer, whatever. Every time they ran out of their depth, they would say, okay, let me bring you my engineer, he'll tell you what to do things. And I hated that guts. Okay? So I said, okay, I'm going to become a founder myself. I'm not going to work for these companies, I'm going to become a founder. So we became a founder. And we started building these imaging libraries, TIFF, TIFF format. We wrote LZW transcription, encryption kind of algorithm. This is early 80s. Okay. Lots of interesting, TCP/IP protocol. We wrote the whole protocol stack. Okay, but you can't scale that business out of India. So we were doing cutting-edge technology. We had US customers at that point of time. I built a team of about 20-odd people, but came the outsourcing wave, and all the engineers went away to the US. $50,000 was the starting salary for anybody who wanted to go to US during the Y2K outsourcing wave. Okay? Nobody small could build a business. Remember Mr. Narayan says that there was a point of time when we wanted to sell the business. All his founders wanted to sell the business, that was the time. Okay? Every company had this problem, unless you became them. And I never wanted to become a services player. I wanted to become a technology player. Okay? So the lesson that I learned from there is, you can build value, okay, around technology, but it gets absorbed differently at different parts of the world, different period. If I had been in the US, I'd have been in a different sphere altogether, because the technology we were building, the customers were all there. From India, that became very hard to kind of sustain against that $50,000 economy. So I thought, okay, let me go back to being a corporate. But the advantage of being a founder was that I could accelerate my career. So I headed Polaroid in India. Okay, so when Polaroid talked to me, I knew, cost of sale, cost of engineers, how to sell, how technology is built, how product is built. I knew much more than my classmates had known, because they were only working for Oracle as engineering managers. Most of my classmates at that point were working for Oracle, Silicon Valley, Oracle. Okay. So I accelerated my career by a couple of years, and Polaroid hired me as head of India operations. Okay. And they were a terrible software company. they were a chemical company trying to become a software company. A very interesting data you should go in, business school students should go out and read that. Polaroid is the only probably company that has 10 years of flat $2.1 billion revenue. 10 years. And the 11th year they came down to $200 million revenue. Okay. So we were going to work on a digital instant camera. Okay. Why? I asked, I was a naive, head of India operations, so I went to this meeting, the CPO was there, CEO was there, and said, because we sell film. If we don't have an instant camera, how do we make money? Digital is all right, but we make money on the film. So we have to have an instant film printout from a digital camera as well. I said, it's a totally different media. Why should anybody have to print anything? On digital, you can just share it. You can send it to people. Why do you have to print it at all? He said, you don't know. Polaroid died out. So when Adobe came to India, I said, I am jumping ship, let me go to Adobe. Okay. This is the software company I wanted to do. There's another reason. The first project we did about 6 months of programming, and we had about 3 bugs at the time of our beta. And engineers here in the room, they'll understand the beta language maybe. Okay. So beta is just before you release a product, you're testing the product, not fully tested. You want some customers to try it out. 3 bugs after 6 months of work. I thought, pretty good. And my boss said, are you crazy? You don't know have any bugs at beta. I said, when did you do your programming? You are just a chemical engineer. Anyway, first day of my work at Adobe, my boss comes and says, here are 1,000 bugs for you to take care of. I was the most delighted person in the room, because this is real software. Right? In a software development, bugs are your currency. Bugs are telling you whether you're making right progress or not. So, my lesson from being a founder to moving to corporate was, when you broaden your horizons, you accelerate your career. In this 1 year, you have all the resources available to you. You have great faculty, you have great infrastructure, there's the whole world's infrastructure available to you to learn. There should be no excuse saying, I could not learn this. Okay. What you can learn depends completely on your curiosity. How much you can absorb will accelerate your career that much. Okay. Especially if you're trying to be a product manager. And I'll come to why. Because a product manager, as Professor was saying, is not about engineering. It's about the customer and what the customer needs. And how will you know what the customer needs? By reading up, by listening to audio podcasts or audible books as you're taking your morning walks. Whatever you can get your hands on. Okay. Pick your subject, read the hell out of it. And build your own vision of where this is going. One lesson that I learned from Morgan Stanley CEO on strategy, you cannot build a strategy unless you understand the structure of an enterprise or the organization or the industry that you are in. I can't build a strategy for cars. I don't know cars. Okay? And I could be 10 years into MBA consulting, I still would not know that. The only people who can build strategies who know the industry and where it is shipped. I can build strategy for enterprise software products. That's what I know really well. Okay. So accelerate your careers by becoming broader in your horizons. Okay. Adobe had a great time. I built some kick-ass products, Photoshop, PageMaker, Illustrator, Acrobat, all these products that you guys have used all the time, right? And I was the first engineer here, first team leader here to build a product out of India. Okay. First product built out of India, my product. First testing team in India, formal testing team for a product team, I built it. First localization team, I built it. First installer team, I built it. Everything first in terms of products, I built it here. Also, I built the first R&D team that was working on a new product idea for a large multinational technology team in India. Then my boss called me and says, we are having a little bit of a problem. This is a crash, 2007-2008 crash. And we need to stop doing all new work, and we are going to use India as primarily a elder care center. Move all our legacy applications, old applications, and just to sustain and maintain that type of work. I said, no, I'm not ready to be an elder care person at this point of time. I want to do new things. Mobility is just starting out, cloud is just starting out. There's so many new challenges. So I moved out of Adobe and went back to being a founder. But today, and this is an interesting irony or twist, today, I'm also a small investor, so today one of the things that I'm really interested in is building a chain for elder care for people. Okay? So my reading is that our cities are not set up for elderly people. Okay? And small families are having a hard time taking care of their parents. Many of those first generation people have moved away from their villages, and their parents want to go back to those villages, but there's no infrastructure to manage those. So I think there's a business to be made in providing elderly care for people. The lesson I'm trying to tell you is your point of view will change with time. As you grow, as you have experiences, every 3 years or 5 years, depending on your life stage, depending on your experiences, your point of view on things will change. You might hold a very strong opinion on something today. Please express it on Twitter. In 5 years later, you might change your opinion quite a bit. Okay? So keep yourself open to changing your perspective as your world changes. Don't get stuck to something that you believe in so strongly that you're not willing to look at the current data, the current trend, the current thing that's happening. Very, very important lesson for me personally. If you get, we always say, this is a cliche, you want to work with great people, right? People who are smarter than you in the room. You should not be the smartest person in the room. Very rare. Okay. But when you get there, make sure that you learn from those smart people and change your perspective as much as possible. Okay. So now I'm back to being a corporate VP, and I'm now looking at building a new momentum for Newgen. So Newgen is 650 plus customers globally, pretty much the top banks in India, top insurance companies, top banks in the Middle East, top banks in Africa, some of the mid-tier banks in the US. We have customers all over the world. Okay. And now customers are telling us, help us go to the cloud. Help us adopt AI, ML. Help us create a data factory on the cloud so that we can have hundreds and thousands of applications that are running on a single platform. Okay. And the IT is telling us, can you make it really easy for us to govern all of this? We have some data, G2.com data, that large enterprises, about 350, 400 different SaaS applications they're using right now. Okay. Imagine you are a CIO, you have 400 different applications running in your environment. You have no clue what are they doing with data, security, governance, compliance, management. And there's a regulator sitting on top of you if you're a bank or insurance company who say, privacy is very important, data security is very important. How do you manage 400 different SaaS applications, 400 different data? So enterprises are saying, give me a platform that aggregates everything into a single platform, or maybe 2 or 3 of such platforms that I can manage. One I can manage for my data scientists and citizen developers, one for my internal applications, one for my professional applications. And this is why low code is becoming so big, important. Because to be able to do these thousands of applications and to be able to iterate these 1,000 applications, if you have to go back to Java or JavaScript, you are done. Okay, you are done, nothing will come out. So you need to have these low-code frameworks that can quickly start to churn out different applications, look at the data, look at who's using them, and keep evolving them as you go along. Okay. Many of your alumni have worked at Newgen as well. Last 4 years or so we've hired, I think 20 odd people every year, except last year. But as you look at your careers, you think of where your impact is going to be. What's your impact potential versus what's your purpose potential in life? So what's your big mission that is going to be in your life. Okay? And if your mission is to kind of go and build great products and impact the whole world, and hopefully by the time you graduate, we'll have 800 plus customers, so we'll have 200 more customers come and work for us. We'll be very happy to use some creative brains and be on a journey together with you. Okay? But before everything else, let me go back to the thread I was going to make, that this lecture is going to be about how to spend 1 year, attend your classes, listen to your professors, build friendships, explore as much as you can around about the clubs and initiatives that you have, and just have fun. Okay? Today is a very special day actually. So I thought I'll give you a small lecture. Usually I hate lectures. Okay? But Alvin will tell you that as you enter the 60th year of your life, and today is my birthday actually. Thank you so much. I think I have a right to give you this small lecture, so thank you very much for listening to me, and thank you again for having me here. Thank you. And we can do a question, if you have some questions, we can do questions as well.
If you have time, Arvind, we can open up for some Q&A.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think one is So guys, questions, good time to engage with somebody as senior as Arvind and as experienced as Arvind. And I'm not really very focused on the product management thing alone, but if you have questions on that, I'm sure he would be happy. I want to assure him we respect engineers also. Right? So Q&A, ladies and gentlemen, 15 minutes. Yeah, that's first one. You want to have the mic?
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for the great insight. I'm sure very happy for this. So my question is, can you please explain the difference between product manager and a project manager?
Yeah, thank you for that question. The product manager, and there's a classical paper, Ben Horowitz's paper. The product manager is the CEO of the product. Okay. What it means is that you own your customers' problems. Okay. As a CEO of the product, all complaints stop with you. Okay. So you need to know what your customer is doing today, tomorrow, day after, and how your product and all the technologies that go into that product are going to meet that need. What is the interface through which he will use it, how will he experience it, how will support it, how will price it, how will deliver it, the entire ecosystem of what a product looks like. The product is not only the code and the UI that you work with. The entire experience of what a product looks like is a product manager's responsibility. A project manager is focused on a specific goal and a target that he has to accomplish. It could be a civil engineering project, could be a railway project, could be a software engineering project, could be one module of a project. On many of our products, we have multiple product managers because these products are wide, very wide. So I have a team of about 20 odd product managers reporting to me, which we are trying to mature as we go along on this journey ourselves. So if you're a product manager, you should be all the time customer obsessed. What can I build for my customer that will make their life easier? And how am I going to make it easier? And how am I going to service it to him, and how am I going to build it? Does that answer your question? Thank you.
Well, so Arvind, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You said that the students need to broaden their horizons. What are the actionable items what are the actions that they can undertake so that in this 1 year they are able to do that?
Yeah, okay, very nice question. So you're like 25, 26, 27 years age approximately, 3.5 years of average experience, mostly engineering background. So you know the technology side of it, okay? And since many of you have come to an MBA school, you're also interested in the abstract part of it, right? So who's going to tell you what the customer wants? Okay. So there is a hierarchy of how to understand it. So you can, I don't know if any of you have subscribed to any podcast? Anybody listening to any podcast? No? Which one?
20,000 hertz.
20,000 hertz technology. Ankur Warikos, okay, this is social media. Start from McKinsey. McKinsey has a podcast on what the enterprise is looking at. What is the enterprise strategy? Come down to Gartner. Gartner has a technology forecast on how enterprises are looking at things. Come down to a banking podcast if you're interested in banking, insurance podcast if you're interested in insurance, car food podcast, Elon Musk and Tesla, what are they doing? Come down to opinion leaders. So build your knowledge in terms of getting opinions of leaders to understand what's going to happen. Okay. And it doesn't have to be only global people. There are lots of India-oriented people who have really good podcasts out there. There's some startup podcasts that will tell you what's happening. There are finance podcasts that will tell you how you should think about finance. Okay. And finance is changing dramatically, right? Fintech is changing the finance game for banks dramatically. How it all kind of ties in together? So podcast is one consumption that you must make outside of social media. Social media is the biggest killer of productivity, by the way. And there's a professor, Avinash Collis at University of Texas, who studies addiction of social media and how it impacts your productivity. Then Audible, how many people have subscriptions to Audible? 2, 3. What kind of books are you reading or listening to? Sorry? Chanakya Niti. Okay, good. But start reading about economics. So you guys are going to be MBA students and many of you are engineers. The best people that I have met who knew more than me were people with the economics and engineering backgrounds. Okay, understand the data, because you are all going to be learning and looking at data science as well, right? Understanding the economics data and how things move, how things are moving in the world is so important. So all the economics is from Karl Marx to the latest economic professor, they're all on Audible. You can read all those books that you like. Read about psychology. As managers, you're going to be learning about people and how people behave. What motivates people, what doesn't motivate people, how people will act, how you can measure people. And there's some fantastic Israeli psychologists out there. Go read them and learn from them. Okay. So build a thesis for what knowledge you need to know. Okay, as Jeff Bezos said, what's your target? Work back from that and say, where do I need to be? And go build your knowledge. Don't let anything stop you in your quest to get there. That's how you broaden your knowledge. Huh?
Thank you.
Yes.
Hello sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So you have been a tech person and eventually went on to found a company, right? So there must be a series of transition in between where you must be moving from a tech person to management. So can you please elaborate on the challenges you faced during the same transition period?
So I'm a technology manager, think of it this way. Okay, so all the time I've been looking at technology and product technology basically. Okay, so when I was at Polaroid and we were doing this camera, my hunch was no, we should forget this instant camera and just focus on the camera, kiosk, experiences and those kind of things. Okay. When I was at Adobe, I was very interested in mobility because I could see mobility is coming along there and we wanted to figure out, we have this small little product called Photoshop. How do we get Photoshop onto a mobile phone? Because mobile phones are going to be used by hundreds of millions of people. And we didn't move, and therefore you have Figma, Canva, which are kind of eating Adobe's lunch at that area. So it's always been about how to use technology to build a product and to take it to the market. The manager that see is mostly an engineering manager. Okay, how do I set up my team so that we can deliver on time? How can I run a team which is like, okay, if you said from now, 15 months later we are going to do a new release, I hit that 15 months later without fail. Okay. Manage all the risks, manage all the development curves. And then slowly it became more about product management. Okay. And then it became about people management. Okay. So in Adobe, over 8-year period of time, I had 3% attrition on my team. They were scared to come and give me a resignation. I could hold back pretty much everybody because, of course, Adobe was a great paymaster, great team, great culture you established. Okay. Currently at Adobe, at Newgen, we are having a little bit of challenge. Okay. So, as a people manager, what can you do to change the shape of your team? I don't know how many of you are football fans. Anybody football fans? Okay. Liverpool fans? Anybody Liverpool fan? Thank you. I'm a big Liverpool fan. So if you look at last 5 years of Liverpool, okay, strong team, bad management, bad result. Okay, 5 years ago, change the manager. First thing the manager does is change the shape of the team, how we are going to play. Okay, high court press. But to do that, you need different players. Okay, so change the players. Get a strong defense, get a strong goalkeeper, build the middle, get some really fast attackers. Second year, Champions League. Third year, English Football League. Fourth year was a bad year for injuries. Last year, 4 finals. The manager's job is to look at the team and say, what can I do to change the shape of my team, the composition of the team, the way we play, and get the results that I want. So that's what I've learned. I have a 300-man team. I'm constantly thinking about how can I change my team so I can get better results out of this team. Who can I bring onto my team? What is the new energy I can put at the bottom layer? What is the external viewpoint I can put on my team at the senior level so I can change the velocity of the team? Okay. I don't know if the answer to that question is a little abstract. Yeah. But you as a manager are taking responsibility. When I say CEO of the product, you are taking responsibility to say, is my team in the right shape to win in this game? Or win against my competition? And then there's another way of looking at it, which is the Sloan school of thought, okay, Alfred P. Sloan. Okay. So the manager is like, in his view, the manager is like a lawyer or a dentist or a professional. Okay. What does it mean to be a professional? A professional is somebody who subsumes his own identity to the corporate's need and requirements. So everything that you do, all the decisions that you do, even spending 1 rupee or $1 in Sloan's case, are you spending it because organization will benefit out of that? Or are you doing it because you will benefit out of that? If you are a true professional, then you always think about the organization's point of view. So become the professional, and if you become the professional, you will do that. Yes? Thank you, sir.
So for someone who is not from the tech background, okay, how can they evolve as a product manager?
I think you'll evolve faster. Okay? Because you won't have any preconceived notions of this is how you should do this. And therefore, what you should do is, since your tech is going to be a little weak, build up on your psychology of the user. Okay? Build up on the user needs. Can I make it simple for my user to buy? One of the biggest problems in tech right now is the friction of buying. Okay? And therefore, you see that the PLG app. And how many of you know about PLG? Product-led growth. Nobody? Okay. HubSpot, how many of you heard HubSpot? MailChimp, HubSpot, Salesforce. Please go and read about PLG, product-led growth. So companies were going and selling $200,000 licenses, right? Starting from the CIO, buying committee, 8 months of demo, prototype, blah, 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 blah. Right? Now you can go sign up in 5 minutes time with a small account, $10 a month, try it out, go tell your boss this looks very good, and then slowly go to it. So HubSpot is very interesting because they've gone to from $12 in average user, 5 users, $60 a month to now 10 million plus ARR, annual revenues, for example. Okay. So as a product manager, if you start thinking about how can I make it easier for my customer to find me, to use me, to report, to improve, then you will win over these guys. And by the way, although I'm telling them to go study psychology, they will not, you should. The first technology that comes along, shiny piece of toy, they will just get immersed into that. This is how it works, this is how the wires work, this is how the cross works. You will say, don't worry about it, and let me worry about the customer, and then so. Most of the top product managers in the US, they are not engineers. Okay. Most of the CEOs are engineers. Okay. Product managers, they come from history background, philosophy background, arts background, any other background than technology. Yes? Good afternoon.
I want to know your views on climate tech.
Climate tech? Controversial, but there's a whole bunch of funds right now interested in something called ESG. Environment, sustainability, governance, kind of things. So Carbon credits are hot. If you build a marketplace for carbon credits, you'll be $100 million worth very quickly. I was just talking to Professor Bappa. He's doing a study with satellite technology to figure out what is the lighting in a village. If you could extend that to say what is the shape and size of ponds in a village, then you can say, look, is the water availability in villages shrinking, getting better? And that will be very powerful technology for the villagers because now they can manage their water resources much better. So, sustainability is very important. Climate tech would be very important, according to me. But one of the lessons I learned is that there is a market for every technology and solution. Okay? If you want to sell climate tech to India, where your sustenance and livelihood is a challenge, it will be hard. But if you want to go and build climate tech for Finland, Norway, Denmark, fabulous. It's a great business. Yes?
You mentioned that you are an investor and you're looking for someone who's helping elder people. So I have a person who's building a startup regarding the same thing. It's named as My Udan app. My Udan app.
Good. I'm pretty sure that in modern Western society, you see a lot of elder care, infrastructure. Is going to happen here as well. My story is about changing my perception from managing what I thought legacy management is an old management, and now I have 30-year-old products to manage at Newgen. So Newgen started 30 years ago. So in some of my products, we still have some assembly code, we still have C code, we still have C++ code, we have C# code, we have JavaScript code, we have Java, all kinds of versions. You can imagine that there's a reason why in India we have airplanes and rickshaws. Similarly, in large products, you have all kinds of technologies living together. Okay, getting the job done. Even in Facebook, I'm pretty sure they still have some PHP code all over the place. It's very hard to get rid of code. Very hard. Yes?
Yes, sir. I have one question. So, firstly, you were saying to be a product manager, one may not be that much technically sound, okay? But at times, when our team will be when our team will be facing some kind of challenges regarding the particular technical point of view. So, at that point of time, how a product manager, not being that much technically sound, can actually overcome that problem and help the team to channelize that particular way so that a feasible solution can be generated.
Yeah. So the product manager is rarely the best engineer on the team. So if you have a great engineer, listen to that great engineer, they'll tell you what to do. Or if you don't have a great engineer and you have expertise outside, they will tell you how to solve the problem. The role of the product managers in that case is to defend the customer's need as much as possible. Okay? So imagine that the customer was there on your team, and now you're making, sometimes you have to make compromise. Now you're making a decision saying, should we do it this way or that way? Okay. Anybody seeing the serial Saul, whatever, Saul something, Lawrence, right? Better Call Saul, right? So there's a car that he's trying to fit his coffee mug, right, and it doesn't fit, right, and he has to break it finally, right? Why doesn't it fit? Standard size, right? Coffee mug should be standard size. Why shouldn't it fit? So the product manager did not take care of the customer's need, that customers are going to have this size coffee cup and therefore I need to have this done. If the product manager has stood down and said, look, this is the standard, we've got to do it, then that problem would not have arisen. That's the product manager's job. Represent the customer's pain point and need and make sure that it fits. How many use Apple here? Wow, fantastic. 50% people, right? Approximately. Why do you use Apple? Because it works the way you think it should work. And how does it get there? Because the product managers are obsessive about getting that right. Obsessive about getting that right. I should go and listen to some podcasts about how Apple decided on many things, especially the keyboard on the iPhone. And you'll realize how obsessive they were about doing this. So if you become obsessive about serving the customer and their need and minimize these trade-offs, then yes, you can solve that.
How does your study in psychology help you in your career, and what significance does it hold in building so many teams?
Whoa. So, to understand human nature, you can either rely on your experiences or something beyond your experiences, and psychology will tell you that. Okay? So, how many of you have had this example where you wanted to do a test and somebody said, let's ask 20 people in the office, we'll get a survey out of this? Yeah? Happens all the time? Let's ask 20 people in the office, we'll get to know the answer to this, right? Turns out there's a Nobel laureate who has a thesis saying this is the wrong way of doing things, because usually in an office everybody is thinking the same way. There's no diversity in your sample. So your sample is pretty bad. Okay. Daniel Kahneman. Okay. Nobel Prize winning psychologist. But he won it for economics, which is also a very interesting thing. Okay. So to know that there is bias, and to avoid that bias, psychology becomes very important. To know people will react to a particular stimulus in a particular way at a particular time helps you then plan, okay, what should I do with this particular employee? If an employee is coming to you all the time saying, I need to talk to you, and you know what's happening, then you know what he's going to talk to you about. And as a manager, then you can figure out your defensive strategy. The manager is also playing a defense-offense game, right? If you didn't know that, then you would say, yeah, come and talk to me, and he'll come and say, I want to leave. And you're not prepared to handle that. Or if you want somebody who's doing a very nice job to leave that and go and manage a project which is in trouble, and he's not going to do that without you kind of selling it to him, unless you know his or her psychology saying what motivates their buttons, you'll not be able to do that job. So psychology, to my mind, baseline, fundamental. Yes. Good afternoon.
Actually, for non-technical products, some product will be used by the end customer for the purpose which is not intended for.
Yes.
Is there any similar kind of experience in technical products?
Always. Always. People will use the product the way they think they can get value out of it. And if in early stage, the product manager's job is to say, is my product being used in a way that I didn't know, and therefore I can make a better product for that particular category of person. So you're all the time segmenting the user base and the needs and saying, is there a derivative product that I can make which is only suitable for that particular segment? Always.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
My question is, what is KPI in project management and how to stay fresh on new technologies and surviving the market? Because surviving is also equally hard as compared to start new product.
What is KPI in project management? I'll let your professors tell you that. It's a whole theoretical
How
lecture.
to stay fresh on new technology in new project, products, because of hard competition in the market?
Consume as much information as you can, as much insight as you can, as much news as you can, at the leading edge of everything. When I was your age, we didn't have internet, so we got I was subscriber to IEEE Computer or some of these magazines. We got them 3 months after they were published. So our knowledge was always 6 months behind the US knowledge. Right? You guys should get it on day one. You should subscribe to Google Alerts on all the technology elements that you have, so that you know in your inbox, okay, something new has happened in this area. I should go and check it out. If you do that, if you make a habit of doing that, nobody can stop you, because now you are taking care of this yourself. Good afternoon.
So I want to know about your opinion on the blockchain or AI technology, how it is beneficial or how it can influence our upcoming technologies. Basically in fintech companies or edtech companies, or how we manage an organization.
So I'll answer the second part. AI is the easier part. Very. Okay. In another 10 years, every company will be doing AI wherever they can. Okay. All kinds of number data sciences, using past data, new data to build models and do AI. All kinds of interpretation of images, documents, videos, anything that you can think of will have AI. Okay, given. And we are already seeing that. Some of our biggest customers are now celebrating 2022 as the year of AI. And they have hundreds of initiatives across their organizations saying, put AI into everything that we do. Make the life of customers easier by putting AI into their application processes, by putting AI into the decision-making processes, by putting AI into personalization processes, okay? By putting AI into forecasting, give me a better cost management, everything AI. Blockchain is a little more interesting. Okay. Very interesting technology, in terms of distributed ledger. The mathematics of blockchain, I don't know if anybody here has read Satoshi's paper. You all hear about NFT, you've read it? Fantastic. So this notion that you can have a computer, virtual computer that can commit that the code that will run on my computer is going to be absolutely precise the way it was done, very powerful abstract thought. But there's going to be a huge, and you can see already, speculative wave around blockchain, NFT, crypto, Web3, Web4, Web5. You have to go and build your position as to what is it that is valuable or useful to humanity with that technology. If you can find that, and I don't think world has found it so far, although speculation is very, very, very Bitcoin, all kinds of coins, NFT, all kinds of marketplaces on NFT are very popular. People have made a lot of money, but is it going to help humanity? In the 1920s, maybe early 1920s, everybody wanted to put a cable between US and Europe. Okay. A lot of the powerful internet, low-cost bandwidth that we get is because of all those people who put, thrice as much capacity as we need today, 70 years ago under the sea. Okay. A lot of speculation saying, internet bandwidth is going to make everybody billionaires, millionaires, rich. A lot of people lost money, but we are having a benefit today because at least it had a value, value for humanity as we went down the road. I'm not so sure if NFT has any value or crypto has any value, but China is doing a very interesting experiment in centralized coin, like a country's national coin, a CBDC that they call it. We'll see how that works out. Jury's out a little bit.
First of all,
Good afternoon.
I wanted to know, we can use games and that to read about economics, right? So, I wanted to know if we can employ the concepts of game theory by John Nash for solving problems which we face as a product manager.
Yeah, why not? You can use any theory as long as it meets the customer's need. The customer never tells you use this theory or use this algorithm. The customer only tells you, get me a best product at the best price in the best way that you can deliver. If that game theory allows you to build a cheaper product, deliver it better, please go ahead. That's your job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I was very happy to know that Arvind knew about the clubs.
Yes, sir.
That's the product manager in him who reads about how we breathe, how we live, before he attempts to create a solution for any of our problems. And a lot of his guidance in trying to build your own knowledge base and from where you can start, for example, the podcasts or the Audible platform, etc., is what you have right now time and access to. For example, all of you have access to online research databases freely available to you wherever you are, whether in the campus or outside the campus, because you're a student of Great Lakes. There is a research database called EBSCO, which has more than 3,500 journals, full text, including the very popular Harvard Business Review. So there is no dearth of material to read, and there is no dearth of access also. So I'm very, I was enthused by, imagine him coming to speak to us for half an hour, 40 minutes, and he invested some time and effort in going through our website and going through the details. He's not somebody who is interested in getting admission here, right? And I think there is a YouTube video of mine also doing the rounds, wherein I said that, what do you know about the institute before you thought that this is the right place for me? So I think that's a very product managerial kind of mindset, which doesn't have any technical or non-technical inclinations. It is just to know about what are the problems that people might be facing and which is the right problem for me, I have the capability to solve. And I think that's a very interesting take on product management. Many questions happily on I'm a non-techie, therefore मैं तो बेकार हूँ, right? Those kind of mindsets. I think I told you some data already that I didn't have 90% engineers in the previous batch, but almost 90% of the class took the digital strategy courses, some of the courses. Right? The digital enterprise strategy course, 120 people subscribed to it. If I have the capacity, I should make it a core course rather than an elective. But I don't have the gumption to do that because I am scared of where will I find the damn faculty. Yeah. So thank you so much, Arvind. Thank you, Arvind, and thank you, Arvind, for being so candid even on your birthday. And you should have informed us. We should have had a cake ready for you. And I promise you, next time you're here, physically, not virtually, we should have a cake.
Absolutely.
No, we can't do that. So thank you very much. And I think some bits of this kind of a conversation we can do on a fireside chat also online, so you don't have to sort of be here physically from such a long distance. And we do a series of that with the students, and something around product management specifically I would like you to contribute to. Thank you very much.